Okay, we're on. But I started it on a different video, so I apologize to everybody about that. We're broadcasting not on time, but live on April the 1st. No April Fool's joke intended.
So do they have to go to a different place?
They'll have to, people who are logged into another video, they'll have to go back to my channel playlist and find me broadcasting live on a video titled Big Wild Year Live Stream Day 91. No custom thumbnail uploaded yet. So I apologize for that. It looks like there are a bunch of people loading in on the chat. Hello! Raspberry Rock, Andrew Horton, Dean, Crypto Alpha, Akadzian Dan. You're not late, Dan. I am late. I am very late. So thank you very much to Delphine, who is keeping the chat alive on the other video for the last 30 minutes while I wrestled with this. It seems like every time I try and pre-schedule a live stream, then when I go to live stream to it, it just broadcasts to my last live stream. And that's because I haven't figured out exactly how to use the encoder key, because it switches each time and I need to change it in the settings. I think I've got that figured out now. I'm going to write myself a note, and then next time, hopefully it'll go smoothly. So first off, I had in a video before talked about not knowing what to do with the tallow from the deer, and based on people's advice, I melted it down, put it in a toilet paper tube with a cotton string, and we're going to test it live on the internet. We're going to light this candle and see if it burns while we talk about the big wild year and our day 91 updates. So we are now 1/4 of the way through our adventure. We are 91 days. We're 3 months in. We have not died. We aren't starved. And we're happy to finally join you for updates. Now I've lost my train of thought because I've been wrestling with this for so long. What's going on the chat?
Everyone's just saying hello.
Cool.
On the other chat, someone wanted you to talk about your new air gun.
Oh, okay.
Oh, one Little Indian, I think.
Yep. So that's my Edgun Leshy.
Yes.
From airgunsource.ca. They're a very large supplier of PCP and other air rifles. So PCP is pre-charged pneumatic, and I've been using mine to keep nuisance squirrels at bay at my parents' place where they get into the house and the shed. And I really like that gun. It folds down very small. I can see myself taking it on a lot of canoe trips, doing a lot of hunting with it, taking it when I'm big game hunting because it's a very quiet, small game rifle. I pump it up. You have to buy a custom pump. It looks like a bicycle pump, but it goes to 200 bar, and that will get me over 20 shots before I have to repump. And if you are not into so much exercise, you could just get a electric pump that'll pump it up for you. So I'm really happy about that. What's all the stuff? Some of the same stuffs as before. You're filling it all in.
A little bit.
Cool.
I didn't want to talk over you.
No problem. 25 air caliber rifles are brutal. What the gentleman told me was that as long as you didn't push them past 900 feet per second, that your trajectory and your accuracy is really good. I didn't know much about PCP except that I really liked the Edgun Leshy, and I thought it would really fit my lifestyle, and so that's what I wanted to get. If I wanted to switch to the 22 caliber, the nice thing about the Leshy is you can just pop the barrel out and pop the different caliber barrel in, and then you're good to go with that other, just that investment in the barrel. So your whole gun stays the same, just the barrel changes. So that would be a future option. Our sap season has been slow because it's been cool here, so we just haven't collected a lot of sap yet, but it's coming. We boiled our first
In total, we've probably done a liter.
about a liter of syrup.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Because you boiled some, I boiled some, and then the other one. Yeah.
and we're aiming to do 100 times that.
And there's some in the cauldron up there still.
Yes.
Ready to go.
Yeah, I was looking at it today. So I haven't put out video yet. I'm at a little bit of a backlog. So we have a porcupine that we cooked up at the sugar bush. That video I'm hoping to get out soon. And then showing a video of us delivering, assembling, building our shelter for the Dominion and Grimm evaporator. So anybody who's interested in that model would be able to see all the tricks for bricking it and putting it together. I had a good chat on the phone with Dominion and Grimm today, so they were just giving me some extra advice. So I mean, you only do it once, so I want to make sure that it's set up properly the first time. Logan's Life said I'm looking thin, so I can do a weight update. So I started the year at 194 pounds approximately, and I weighed myself today at 165 pounds, give or take a pound. So I'm down 29 pounds over the 3 months. I've lost 1 pound per week over the last 2 weeks, and basically every other week up to that point was more than a 2 pounds a week loss, more upfront than towards the end. So I feel like I'm getting down to a level weight.
I have also lost 30 pounds.
Yeah.
But haven't lost any weight for the last at least 6
5
weeks.
weeks or something. Yeah. So Delphine's stabilized. It's because I work a lot harder than her, in the sugar bush and everywhere else really. So
Who cooked your dinner?
Delphine cooked me a really nice day 91 dinner tonight. We have, and we can do an update on our food supply. So we have,
because we had the same meal we've been having.
yeah,
Like
Yeah.
freshly cooked. But yeah, it's a lot of the
Bear.
same. A lot of
bear
And
sunchokes.
That's great because I love it. I love the bear meat.
Yeah. But as far as our bear goes, we have one big piece of bear in a garbage bag. So that's when the Wooded Beardsman, Zachary Fowler, and Rob were all bear hunting in my neck of the woods, and we went shares on a bear or 2 or 3. I have some of that bear left as a big chunk, and then of the bear that we butchered, we have half a dozen wrapped pieces still that are in really nice shape, but we are starting to run out of bear. We are down to ribs and kerchief. I don't know, you labeled kerchief.
It's the neck.
It's the neck, okay. Ribs and neck meat for venison, and I have one sirloin roast that I wanted to slice up for some jerky and then cook some steaks off of. And then we have various small game items that we haven't really
and a few fish.
gotten into yet, and some fish.
Yeah.
We have a goose and a couple ducks. We have a hare and a couple of grouse. We have 8 or 9 squirrels. They still have their hides on because I was going to meet up with Adam Craig Outdoors and do a video on how to skin a squirrel and board it.
Okay.
No muscle loss.
Like all over lost, but the muscles are still.
Yeah, we
Good.
moved the sap evaporator by hand, just Delphine and I, and I'm guessing it's over 300 pounds.
I'm sure it's
Or
1,000 pounds.
Oh yeah, at least. It was pretty heavy.
Maybe 400.
I haven't been to the gym in a month probably. I keep wanting to go and I keep not making it because all of our spare time we basically are out doing stuff. I'm cutting firewood and shoveling snow and then shoveling more snow, and then
Cutting firewood.
I have a lot of exercise shaking my fist at the snow.
Yeah.
So we've been doing other than gym exercise.
Medical updates. We haven't had the newest round of blood work done yet. And I like this. Someone wants to know what our worst meal this year. Worst?
What would our worst meal be so far?
It takes some thinking. They've all been really quite good.
Yeah, like I burnt some sunchokes the other day,
Right.
and then like I felt so badly about it that I tried to eat them anyway. I had to throw them out. That was pretty bad. And the worst meal I had actually would be the soup, within which I did not repeatedly boil the milkweed pods and made myself sick. That would be the worst meal. Tasted good at the time, not coming up.
Do we expect to put on any weight during the spring, Jane and Newell? I don't know that we'll gain any weight, but we certainly won't lose any more, I don't think.
Yeah. We have our full physical is coming up in June, and that's the physical where we'll do our weight, strength testing again, percent body fat, metabolic rate, VO2 max. And that'll be approximately 6 months into our year, and I thought that would be an interesting turnaround point to see, where we've come from January, and then, I'd be interested to try and muscle up a bit from there towards the end of the year. But we're hoping to continue to eat lots of food.
Someone thinks we could be stuck with just pike, which would be fine by me.
Yeah, I definitely would be okay with that.
And are we going turkey hunting in May? Yes, we are.
Yep.
Firming up plans.
Yep.
Still.
Yeah.
A school chum of mine.
Our year is really kind of mapping out into presentations, speaking engagements, sort of conferences or workshops, and then all of our hunting and fishing seasons, camping, and so on.
Yeah, and we'll try to, when we travel for some of those speaking things, we'll be doing foraging. And,
yeah.
Do you render off the bear fat? Yes. I find it to be very greasy, almost like a Vaseline consistency.
I find it pretty greasy.
Yeah. Not like Vaseline, though. It's pretty solid. Or
Yeah,
like when you're
but
working with it, maybe.
when it's warm on your hands, it's pretty slippery. Yeah, we render all of our bear fat, and then some of it's still left on the meat. So what I'll do is I'll cook meat in the slow cooker or roast pan, then I'll turn it off and let it all cool down, and skim all the bear fat off the top and put it in a separate jar,
and use it
then
to
cook with it separately.
Do you plan to stop the big wild deer on New Year's Day, or you're not sure if you'll continue? We have talked about that a little bit.
More than a little bit. We've been fantasizing about a few foods.
But also about the fact that we're going to keep going.
Yeah.
Like, this is definitely a permanent shift with, like, more garden foods and cheese. Today it's cheese. Today I'm craving cheese.
Yeah, I think wild food it's a lifestyle thing for us, so that's not going to stop. It's really just a matter of the quantity and which regular foods, if we want to call them regular foods, we choose to eat. So New Year's Eve might be a little bit messy, but the year ahead will probably look similar to this year, but with more garden foods.
And we'll get to try our strawberry wine.
Strawberry wine. It's burping behind us, so if you hear something that sounds like farts, that's Delphine. But if you hear something that sounds like burps, it's the strawberry wine. It's still. I can't believe you do either. Aww. And it's a long ways away, but I'm really toying with the idea of doing like 6 days of all wild food and garden food, and then maybe 1 day a week of something
Cheesies.
else. Having a coffee once a week, and cheesies and pie and steak and.
Oh, I think you would feel so ill on that
Maybe.
one day.
But it'd be such an interesting thing to do.
Yes.
Hit the thumbs up, everyone. Thanks, Raspberry Rock.
Candle seems to be putting off good light.
Yeah, it's going.
And actually, I
well.
was worried that it might be a bit smelly, but there's
it's
no
not sputtering
scent.
either.
No, it's perfect.
There's no dairy in our diet right now. Sorry, I'm trying to keep up with the scroll. I think it was Jeffrey that asked. Yeah, so Beth, when and where where speakings will be, a lot of that. So I have to admit, because I was thinking about this earlier, because we do daily updates on Facebook, and it feels like we've been really good at keeping people up to date on our stuff. And I realize that I have not been as good, except for these live updates. I've not been as good at doing updates on my YouTube channel, and I'm falling behind there. Um, oh, we just kissed on the video.
It's behind. That's okay.
That's weird. There's like a 1 minute delay or something, eh?
Mm-hmm.
So, if you use Facebook and you go to our Big Wild Year Facebook page, which is just facebook.com/bigwildyear, we'll try and be posting there, and then I post on my personal Facebook page, where and when we'll be going. We are going to do one trip into the States for sure, which is the Great Lakes Foragers Gathering. It's their 6th annual gathering. It's in somewhere.
June. Oh, where is it?
Oh, it is at the end of June, June 25th to 28th, but it's in Michigan.
Yes.
And it's a little bit north of Detroit. It's somewhere where I've never been before, but we're planning to attend. There'll be some people there who are more fabulous than us, which I know is hard to believe, but we're really excited to see and meet and network with some other nerdy foragers, esteemed foragers.
How do you know that you're getting enough dietary salt requirements? Our blood work shows our electrolytes have remained unchanged. They're perfectly healthy.
Yeah. Even though we have eaten only the smallest amount of that sea salt.
Oh, and I still didn't share that article with you, but I did read a couple good ones about bone broth and the sodium content.
Oh.
And some other things.
Okay.
So I feel like that's probably been because we keep having a lot of it.
Yeah. Yeah, there are no bones that are in our, like, all of our meat is bone in basically, and after we've eaten the meat, the bones all go into broth.
Mm-hmm. How about elk hunting? We are going to try to do that.
Yeah. Who asked that question?
Raspberry Rock.
Oh yes. Yeah, so Raspberry and I have had a little chat on Facebook about that, but we are hoping. So the draw opens April the 17th or 18th, and we're hoping to put in for the Ontario lottery, which basically as a group, you have about a 20% chance of drawing a tag, I think. So we're hoping to do an Ontario elk hunt this year.
Logan's life with the winter thaw starting. Barely. What wild foods are you looking for now? Anything green?
So we just harvested our first spring greens.
Oh yes, actually.
Basswood buds.
Yeah.
I was going to bring in
I have the jar, and you probably
okay,
can't
sure.
show.
We also read that you can eat the inner bark of basswood. I haven't eaten any bark before. It's the cambium. It's not really the bark that you eat, but we cut down a sucker. So while we've been in the sugar bush, we've been cutting firewood for this year, but also so we have a next year's supply. And I found a clump of basswoods, but they had a sort of a sucker about that big around that I cut down, and it had some.
It smells so good. Can you smell it?
No. So they had their spring buds are growing. Sorry about the shadow there. They're just little. Well, they're kind of fat as far as tree buds go.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to start stripping the bark and giving that a try as well. And
they're very tasty. Very fresh. Kind of.
mucilaginous. They become slimy as you chew them.
They kind of taste like a snow pea a little bit. Do you get that?
Maybe. I don't know why they kind of remind me of rye berries. When you get rye berries in bread.
Uh-huh. I usually only get them inside, but yeah, they're tasty.
Yeah.
What sort of medical issues would cause you to modify the big wild year if need be, Nick Palma? Well, if we were told to stop.
Yeah.
If we felt we were too thin, but we actually are, like, our weight is stable and we both can see that there is still some extra.
Yeah.
So we're not too terribly worried about anything. Our teeth are great. Gums, like everything's good. So
Yeah.
if any of those things shifted, obviously we would.
Yeah, or like mental fatigue or things like that. We are, of course, being followed regularly by a doctor.
What animal tends to give you the most calories? We don't know which has the most calories, but you can estimate, right? Like calories in protein, calories in fat, calories. There's sort of a basic set of numbers that, so we can kind of guess, but
Yeah. Pound for pound, it's between bear and raccoon, because they both are carrying the most amount of fat, of edible fat, of any of the other animals that we have accessed. Most of our meat calories this year have come from bear. And then, we did try raccoon, which, of course, they're very fatty. So we have lots of raccoon lard that we're using. And I don't know, as far as fat goes, they're like our mainstays. Michigan Home Guard. I don't know why it's upside down.
You need to eat more. You look sickly.
Sickly?
April Fools.
One resource besides hunting that the risk reward is just too high. So I have lots of friends who really love to go trout fishing, and they'll pretty happily go and spend 2 days on the weekend fishing for trout, and maybe if they're lucky they'll catch a limit of 5 speckled trout that might range from like 7 to 13 inches. And as far as calories go, like I would happily do that if I had lots of other food, but as far as calories go, that's just not worth it to me. I would be better off to catch one big pike or to try and catch 20 perch than to spend that time and effort to get trout. So that one I would say is too much risk and not enough reward.
What is the fat like for cooking? It's good. The bear fat, I think, is better on a little bit of a lower heat. It seems to me the raccoon fat can take a higher heat.
Yeah.
But otherwise, they're pretty similar.
Yeah. How many more pounds of meat? Well, hoping to harvest is different than like need to harvest, but like I would love if we got a moose, a deer, a bear, 20 geese, small game,
ducks,
an elk.
I saw 24 fly over me today.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
just waiting for the bus.
Then we'd be in a position where we have enough that we can share with friends and family. Where this year so far we've kind of been hoarding our wild food because we don't really have that surplus. Yes, I would like to try for lake trout at ice out. I'm going to give that a go if I have time. The trouble for us is that ice out, we might still be in the sugar bush, and then I'm going to be gone to Grenada for 2 weeks, and it's also the same time of year where we're going to be needing to get leeks and fiddleheads, which are 2 major greens for us. So there are always competing food sources, and we really have to divide up our time, right? Jeffrey, we're not counting calories. We just try and eat so we're not losing weight. Eat when we're hungry. Eat till we're full.
And our bodies should become more efficient, right? Like that's what our testing will likely show.
Yeah.
And so, like, our needs will maybe be less.
Yeah. Well,
they were.
you know, I've lost 30 pounds. You've lost 30 pounds. If you can figure out how many extra calories a day you need just to carry around your extra 30 pounds, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. 4 feet of snow. That's what we've got here.
Hello to Pablo. Someone saying they enjoy all your videos.
Right on. Question about
Are
the
you
YouTube.
planning to go for lake trout at ice out? We will
Yeah.
be in the sugar bush.
Well, I did answer that.
Oh, you
I think,
did, sorry.
I think you were typing.
Okay.
And that is when Chris dropped his camera in the water. That is when I bought my camera and started making more videos. I was using a different camera before that, but I got a little more serious about it when I put the money out on the new camera. It came out of my rifle fund. We were talking about that recently.
It'll be on another video.
On another video, so I have replenished. My rifle fund has been building back up. We're both going to be rifle hunting this rifle hunt. Yeah, hunting for new rifles this spring. So we've been looking at a few different models. So, you know, that'll be something fun too. We'll do a rifle unboxing and target practicing or something.
I have my wife watching you guys live.
Charles, I would try coyote meat, and is it in your future? I don't actively get out coyote hunting, but I do buy my wolf and coyote license each year. You need to have a license for them when you're in my area in Ontario, north of the French and Mattawa rivers, or in certain zones. Anyway, if I'm deer hunting and I see one, I would be tempted to harvest it in that season for meat and for fur. A wild food restaurant? That sounds like a lot of work.
Well, for us, just
Thanks, Ugly Pirate. We are learning as we go, and we're learning a lot from people who are interacting on Facebook, on YouTube,
on Instagram,
recommending books on Instagram. So we are doing a lot of learning and reading through the literature too. So
yes, we have a
scientific papers and
papers.
journal articles, and so there's lots to go through.
We're nerds.
You found it tasted
good night,
like
raspberry
berry. Yeah, good night, raspberry. Oh, that's interesting.
Can you try to eat lion meat?
Sure, if you want to get us a safari in Africa.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Hey, guy.
What else?
What else? I could open up. It'll just take me a minute on the internet. I did do so I've been following my year.
Not lion meat, mountain lion.
Oh, I'd
That
love to
makes
eat
more
mountain
sense.
lion. I watched the meat eater eat mountain lion meat, and I was convinced that I'd want to. And I did eat some lynx meat. So lynx are they're like a bobcat, but we have them in northern climates. I ate some lynx 2 years ago, 3 years ago maybe, and that was also really good. But they're you don't really see them unless you're a trapper and you're specifically trying to trap them. I would never really go out intending to hunt one. I've been tracking my year-over-year expenses, and I'm just going to pull up some data because I did tabulate my March expenses.
We were just talking about this. Any idea what the taste difference would be between a wild raccoon and your garden variety city raised trash panda?
Oh yeah.
Well, we were talking about dump bears and forest bears, and we thought that there was probably a lot of really good food in the garbage because people survive dumpster diving.
Yeah.
And so I'm not really sure that they would be much worse. Not that we've tried, but I mean, they're big, fat, healthy looking
Yeah.
animals. They're eating a lot of food waste.
The raccoons too, right?
Yeah, so I don't know that there would be much difference.
Yeah, and I know everybody has, like, and I have that impression also, that a trash panda is going to be different than your corn-fed country raccoon, but I don't actually know of anybody who's done an analysis and can say
Mm-hmm.
that the one is healthier or less healthy than the other, and if they're eating significantly different foods
Like
or
maybe
not.
they might have some of the plastics or something, right? Like get broken down, but I don't know.
Yeah.
It's interesting. We were just talking about it.
And they're obviously the big difference, I think, would be that one is eating a free range diet and one is eating basically what we eat, which is not a free range diet.
And stuff that
Yeah.
gets thrown out, like breads and
Yeah.
donuts and old soup and
There
meats
are
and
scientific studies that show that free range food is different from
Mhm.
grain fed food biochemically, significantantly different. The fat balance is different, the cholesterol is different, and so on, right?
Fiddleheads, yeah.
Yeah.
The first things we plan to collect this spring will be nettle, dandelion greens. Oh, first probably we'll go and dig some sunchokes. Primrose root, burdock root, and then the nettle, garlic mustard. I don't know, I have my little calendar book. Maybe
Yep.
I'll grab it because I have it sort of month by month.
Sure. So while Delphine's looking for that, I'll just give you my year-over-year financial update. So this year to date, I've saved about or over $700 in groceries over the 3 months, and I've spent $200 more on gas. And I don't have my Fitbit data for March, so this is just based on January and February, and I did give this in our last update, I believe. But I burned 200,000 calories to date last year, and then this year it was 167,000 calories. So I'm interested in that because I don't feel like I've been less active this year, but I've burned 15% fewer calories. And I know my resting heart rate is significantly declined based on my Fitbit data. It's under my sleeve here somewhere. And so I think that might be a factor.
Yeah, garlic mustard, singing owl, the Dame's rocket,
I'm gonna grab some brandy.
wintercress, the evening primrose, catkins, and then some blossom, like some buds, wintergreen, and then leeks, cohosh, trout lilies, ginger, nettles, trout lily. Did I say that? Sorry.
Yeah, and some of the roots right before the plants sprout.
Yeah, I said that already.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the evening primrose, the burdock, the sunchokes, dandelion root, chicory root. Yeah, so it's going to get busy quickly.
Yep.
We'll get through the syrup season, hit the smelts, and then get going on greens. I had a bear from near Minden, terrible taste. Next two from up your way were fantastic. Oh, well, that's good to know. Can I have them?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think taste in animals is partly going to be based on what the animal is eating, and then a lot of it is based on how you deal with the animal after you've harvested it and how you've harvested it. So if you've run an animal down, that's going to change the flavor. If you wound it and don't recover it immediately, that's going to change the flavor. The temperature and the humidity that you store it at, these are all different factors that are really important.
Did you answer that one
Spring bear hunting? I did not yet, but
yet? But I am planning on doing some spring
Yeah.
bear hunting.
Delphine's going to spring bear hunt.
I'm super excited.
So I'm hoping I come back from Grenada with a suitcase full of coconuts to a freezer full of bear.
Yes. Yeah.
That'd be all right.
I think that'll be.
We can have coconut bear with sea salt.
Oh my gosh. I definitely want to try that.
When will we go mushroom hunting? All year.
Do you have any wild onions growing around? All the leeks. And there is wild garlic, but south of here.
Yeah. Yeah, take it easy, Dean.
And one little onion's gone.
Oh.
Good night.
Good night. We don't have wild hogs up here, but I think it's partly because people didn't purposely reintroduce them or release them. It is pretty cold for them up here, but there are wild hogs that they live in Siberia, which has pretty severe winters. So I think it's partly just because people don't farm them up here and then lose them. Although I looked at, so you can look at a website called inaturalist.com or .org, and you can report sightings of different species. And I looked up the wild boar, and there were half a dozen or a dozen sightings from the last 10 years in different areas, but not this far north and not any quantity of them. What we do have for invasives are some red deer, about 40 kilometers away from North Bay. They escaped from a farm, and there is some evidence that they have been reproducing in the wild and sustaining a wild population.
What spices do you miss?
All of them.
No, I don't think so. Do you miss allspice and nutmeg and cinnamon?
No, I don't
Yes,
usually.
you do, because they're all in pies.
I don't. Yeah, but I don't really cook with spice very much, so I don't really miss it when I'm cooking because I might not really use spices anyway.
Yeah. I miss pepper and chilies. For sure.
Mm-hmm.
We have some very peppery tasting things, but they don't quite. I don't miss it so much that I think about it, but I'll enjoy having pepper back in my diet, and the same with chilies. Chili flakes, chili sauces, hot, spicy.
We haven't written any grants yet for the nutritional testing of wild food, but my big news that I haven't maybe talked about much is I was successful to get a professional development sabbatical leave from my teaching job, and so I'm going back to school to do a master's, and some of that master's research will be based on wild food nutrition. And as I go through that process, then I'm hoping to also write some grants and access some money. But even in the meantime, on our own project, we're hoping to figure out how to access some money or sponsorship to cover some nutritional testing.
Mm-hmm. So there are several comments about how thin you look and how gaunt we are. But
Because I'm wearing my old clothes and they're too big.
I think that's part of it. But the other thing is we're not, because we can still pinch more than an inch.
Yeah.
A couple of spots.
Yeah.
And we've kind of had this conversation a few times about that we just live in a really fat, complacent society. Like, we live in convenience-based, and it's just easy to look at people that are rounder, and it kind of becomes your norm about how they look, I think. And we're healthy.
Yeah,
and we're just definitely way thinner than we were.
Yeah, I was going to say, we lost 30 pounds each, so, like, it's going to show somewhere,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Based on what we looked like before.
When we were obese.
When
like,
we were
I mean, we were both overweight.
Yeah, we weren't obese, but
well, percentage-wise, we were pretty
percentage-wise,
close.
we were close. We were overweight, and so it'll be interesting. June's a long ways to wait, I guess, 2 more months. But we'll do our next round of testing, and then we can report, what our percent body fat's at, whether we've had muscle loss or not. So when I tested in January, my percent body fat was 23% body fat. And I weighed 194 pounds, so that's like, it's almost 50 pounds of fat on less than 200 pound frame. So that's a lot of fat.
Mm-hmm. Do you get morels that far north? We find some morels here,
Yeah.
but I'm going to be traveling home for morels. I can't tell you where.
Secret location.
Manitoulin Island. Mm-hmm. Black pepper. Yes, black pepper. I miss black pepper.
Hey, Twin Heart. Yeah, I don't know what time it would be in Japan right now, but
Did you answer this one?
22 o'clock here. Strength? Yeah, so when I was at the gym, so I hadn't been to the gym for quite a long time in the fall, and I went to the gym a little bit in January and February, and I meant to go every week or twice a week, and I didn't have time to do that. What I found is I had kept records before of how much weight I was lifting for, and I mostly just do compound exercises. So I run, and then I'll do bench press and deadlifts, and then another week I'll do squats and overhead press. And I basically was able to lift all the same weight that I was lifting before, but I couldn't do as many repetitions. And then I just didn't really get to stick to it. But that was still early in the
year before you were breathing well again also.
Yeah, so that could be a factor, is I can breathe much better now. But again, we'll hopefully have some concrete results. Our main strength measurement that we did was leg press and was grip strength. And we both had above average leg press and grip strength for our sex and age, respectively. Even though neither one of us had trained specifically I haven't trained leg press my whole life, or grip strength. That's just from doing stuff and being active and doing other exercises, I guess. So I'm really interested to see what happens when June rolls around and we measure that again. I was in a brain fog the first couple of weeks of January. Like, I felt really lethargic and dumb. And like in January, we go back to work. We have a week lead time before the students come back to work, and I was like, I am not going to get ahead of my material, because I just couldn't think or concentrate, or I just didn't have. I would love some tea, but in the last month, I've been feeling pretty sharp, even though I haven't maybe been sleeping as much as I like to. But I feel pretty sharp right now.
Quick, someone ask him a hard math question.
How tall am I? Oh, that's not hard math. I am 6 foot 3/4 of an inch. Delphine is 5 foot 10 and a half.
And 3/4?
Oh, 5 foot 10 and 3/4 of an inch. That's our heights. Hunting for roadkill is not part of my routine, but I scan the roads all the time. This time of year is pretty good. Coming up soon for roadkill, so I do watch for it. Just when I'm, swerve for it. I watch for a roadkill when I'm driving to work. Oh, did anybody ask about my right eye? Nobody asked about my right eye yet. I don't want to lean on this candle, but...
Yeah, sure. Just move it over.
See that?
Still kind of
shiner. That is 15 days after getting whacked in the eye with a metal pole. And the story about how that happened is Delphine and I had tediously assembled one of those steel frame tarp parking shelters.
In freezing rain.
And then within 2 months it had completely collapsed under snow load. And but that's where we wanted to set up our evaporator. So we dug through 4 feet of snow. We got rid of all the snow. And then I started to disassemble the broken shelter, and I did not realize that it wasn't just broken, but parts of it were just bent, and they were under a lot of tension. So when I was bent over and I popped one of the joints loose on the pipes, that pipe under tension just whacked me in the eye so fast I had no idea what happened. It just was like, wow, that hurt. What was that? And within a minute I had a bit of color and a good bump.
No, not even. There was an immediate bump. Like, it was immediate. And I looked at it and said, put some ice on it, it's going to get black.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
really did.
It's been through a lot of color changes. There's still, so right on this edge of my eye bone, there is a hard bump underneath, but it moves around. And it doesn't hurt anymore, but it feels kind of like a pimple. Like I always want to squeeze it, but I think that's a bad idea. And
It'll go.
I'm going to get it checked out later if I think it's an issue, but I haven't suffered a concussion. I don't have any vision loss or anything like that.
Do you freeze wild mushrooms as well as dry them? Yeah, so
Yeah.
we froze some in bear fat when we had some last year.
Sauteed
Because we
and
weren't
frozen.
just, like, yeah, we couldn't just, a lot of them were dried simply because we didn't have fat until later in the year. Do you wake up at night sometimes?
Yeah. She told me, Delphine concocted that tarp shelter story for me, and she said if I said anything different, she'd give me another black eye.
Oh.
I wake up once a night probably, like to get up and pee and go back to bed.
Are you more predisposed to flu or colds and such? I don't know. That's maybe a question for you to answer. I'm so lucky because I don't get sick.
Yeah.
I sometimes feel like a little bit run down. I do a saline flush, drink
Yeah.
some tea, and I'm good. I don't remember the last time I had a flu. I think the year I got pregnant with Eric James.
Oh yeah.
And a cold, I think I've had one in the last 5 years. And I haven't had any since the year started, since Big Wild Year started, so.
Yeah, and for me, like it was pretty normal for me to not be able to breathe from October or November through till March every year.
At least.
I always had hankies in my pocket and never could breathe well at night. And then this year has been different. So I've twice in the last month I've probably had like a really runny, drippy nose, and I'm like, oh, my nose is runny. I'm like, oh wait, relative to last year and every year before that, this is nothing. So yeah, I'm not really sure. Are we able to stay out of ketosis? I don't think that we have been in ketosis yet, really, except
No, just you,
my
the one day
one-
after you did that big hike.
yeah,
Like you were working so hard that I think you just, that's what
went
happened.
ketotic. Yeah, we're using the urine test strips, and they're always like negative or trace, or like there's so little color you couldn't really say that it's in
Yeah,
ketosis.
the trace times have been like only maybe twice.
Yeah.
Like really it hasn't been. Have you monitored blood sugar at all? Yes.
So my blood sugar, I mean, I'd have to go to my results, but it was, I'm gonna say 5 point something when we started the year.
It was the A1C, which is like, it's a longer, it takes a snapshot of like a longer period of time. It's
Oh.
not just a fasting blood.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. It's like your
3
blood
months.
cells are like a donut, and the A1C is like the frosting on the donut. It tells you how much sugar is stuck to your blood. Somebody just explained it to me. Yeah, so mine was like 5 point something initially, Canadian Bushman, and then recently it was under 5. It was 4 point something.
Yeah, way more close to normal. Mine did go down a little, maybe, but it was normal and normal. All of my stuff was normal.
Mm-hmm.
The doctor said I was born.
Mm-hmm.
I think I said that last time.
I don't think I need to have surgery for my sinuses
No.
because they're good now. I think it's
Like
diet
not
related.
today. 'Cause
Not
you
today.
you did mention you went to your folks' place, and since then you've kind of just been something triggered something.
But overall, they've been really clear this year.
Really good.
Not quite as clear as when I once took a round of prednisone, but pretty close.
Yeah, but yeah, and that's a much better way to achieve it.
Mm-hmm.
It's fascinating to watch a European.
Yeah, because you might expect people with different genetic heritage to react differently to different diets, right? So there's some interesting comparison there.
Did you notice any differences at all in your skin?
Mine's been a little bit dehydrated looking, but my skin
health has improved.
Skin health has improved big time. I used to get a lot of red rash around my sinuses and eyebrows, and that's mostly disappeared.
What are you planning to do for meals when you travel, such as do speaking engagements? Well, plan. We'll probably take a lot of dried foods.
Yeah.
We're going to do you're taking some jerky, and we might have a little extra to take.
Yeah.
When we do like weekends away, but really I think taking some slow roasted meat in a good cooler, because it's only for 2 or 3 days, 4 days max.
Yeah.
And so we can take enough food, teas, and then fresh things along the way.
Yeah.
There'll be a lot of things to pick, and
yeah, we could smoke some fish or something maybe.
Yeah.
For Grenada, because I'm mostly expecting once I get there to be able to access lots of wild food, but I was going to travel with, as you mentioned, some jerky, some bear fat, and some maple sugar. Those are all things that travel really well. So.
And that you can take, that you're allowed to.
Yeah, I checked with customs because I don't need to get in any trouble going there or coming home. So I'm going through my list, the things that I can bring back as well. Processed coconut I can bring back. Dried nuts I can bring back. And we'll look at some other options too.
Ugly Pyrite, good night. Someone is in Missouri saying they would starve most of the year because of hunting seasons.
Yeah. Depending on your state and province and the season and the bag limits, it could be difficult to feed yourself for a year on wild food that you harvest legally.
So far, what is your favorite food? It seems maybe trout and bear.
Yep.
Definitely
And
enjoying bear meat. Leeks
Berries
are always a favorite. Berries. Yeah. I know they're all so good. The goose was good the other day.
Oh, the goose was fabulous the other day. We cooked a goose. Delphine cooked a goose, and it was great.
Like some of the meals have just turned out really well. The Valentine's, the stuffed lake trout was really good. We made a stuffing out of acorn flour and sedge flour and a few other things that I don't recall right now. But that was super yum. They're all good.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's hard to pick a worst or a favorite. Like everything's been really tasty.
Yeah, and actually we really liked our roasted dandelion root we were drinking every morning, but that's run out over a month ago now, so. What's in our wild medicine cabinet? I think our freezer is our wild medicine cabinet.
Well, here, I think. So a lot of the jars up top are for spices and for teas. There's, yarrow and goldenrod, rose petals, chamomile, pineapple weed, clover, wild mushrooms, sumac, maple, keys, trout lily, pheasant back, the alder catkins, fireweed, flowers, common clover and red clover, bunch of seeds, primrose seeds, plantain seeds, garlic seeds, all the things.
Yeah, they're holding up pretty well actually.
The choke cherry juice, which was so good. The apple grape juice, which was also really great. Dried leeks, yeah.
Good variety.
Yep. That cabinet is stacked. Yeah. It's good. Is eating wild food all you're focused on, or are you also keeping an eye on Sugar, fat intake. Well, our sugar and fat are wild. They're just maple sugar and maple syrup and wild fats. And they are essential because they give us lots of calories and other nutrients.
Yeah. I actually have been watching too much sugar in my diet, I think. I've been eating a lot of maple sugar and maple syrup. I probably need to cut back a little bit, but that's going to be hard in maple syrup season, so...
Well, did you notice on the... Like when you buy... You could look at one of the jugs. In a quarter cup of maple syrup, there's only 250 calories.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I should grab one and take a look at it.
It's fairly calorie dense. Per quarter cup, 210 calories.
Oh, 210, even less than I thought. Oh, goodness. I think we would all love to raid that med cabinet.
So anything you're excited to try this year?
That you... Oh, yeah. So we have... Let me look at the list.
Yeah.
Because we collected 70 species. And then there were another... There are a bunch that we can eat as the year goes through that don't really keep. You can't really set them by. And then there are a bunch of others that we didn't eat or collect in the last couple of years. But I forget the numbers.
Yeah. I think beaver and muskrat and morels are on my list. We haven't eaten them yet this year.
And then plants.
We have maple keys, but we haven't eaten them yet. Yes, the wooded beardsman gave me some food from the weekend that I was down there at the small cabin. And we've been researching, Samantha, about eating wild food for years.
The thing that we haven't eaten that we want to eat is wild rice.
Oh, yeah.
So we have a place to go now set up in the fall.
Oh, okay.
We have an invite, and as soon as it's there, we can go and get some.
Cool.
Lots of some and eat it. That's going to be super exciting.
Yeah. Yeah, I think like we're not far off from kind of figuring out what staples and what quantities we would need to be comfy through the year. And wild rice would be a huge part of that.
Yeah.
Because we haven't had a lot of starch.
No.
No.
Do you keep chickens for eggs? No. No agricultural, no farm animals.
No.
Till next year. And then? Both.
Yeah.
Chickens for eggs and chickens for eating and a biggie.
Yep. Maybe a pig or two. If I come across roadkill, I inspect it, and if it's in good condition, I keep it and eat it, depending on what it is. So I'm keeping my eyes peeled now.
What if you shoot a chicken? Would it count?
Maybe if it's running loose and if it's designated escaped and dangerous.
Like a thug life chicken.
Yeah. Yeah.
What game birds do you have up there beside goose?
Yeah, so there's lots of other
ducks.
waterfowl, and then turkey and grouse would be the main ones.
And then maybe
Mourning
some
doves.
Blackbird.
Yeah, blackbirds,
starlings,
starlings,
crows.
and pigeons and crows are all specifically unprotected species because they're invasive or agricultural pests. So we will try and collect eggs from those unprotected species this year.
No ptarmigan.
I have never tried to raid a goose nest.
And we can.
And you cannot.
No. We can collect eggs from pigeons, starlings, and blackbirds.
Yep. And house sparrows.
And yeah.
And crows.
And yeah.
This candle's getting a bit smoky, so I'm going to blow it out. But it's only about an eighth burnt.
It did not. It's nice and slow burning for sure. I think
Yeah.
if you cut the wick, it would be
And
less.
it's been going for almost a full hour. So I'm going to blow that out. Smoky. And I think we're going to snuff out our
you
stream
seem
pretty
a bit
soon too.
lethargic. You need to get some fat in your diet.
Yeah. I think I'm tired because we've been going all day.
Well, we've been going hard for the last couple of week between work. Yeah, work and kids, and trying to get everything dug out at the Sappy Shack, which has been a lot of work.
Yeah.
Tapping trees, snowshoeing everywhere.
Yep.
And it's now 10:30 here.
Yeah.
And we've both been on the go since just before 6 a.m. for me.
Yeah.
So, what does grouse taste like? Chicken.
Yeah, like dry chicken.
No, it doesn't really taste like chicken. Loving the Big Wild Year, thank you.
Yeah,
we are
thanks.
loving the Big Wild Year too.
Thanks for all your support and interest. It really helps to fuel us to keep at it, but also to keep sharing everything that we learn, and so that's great too. Yeah, there's nutrition in rabbit and hare, but you can get you can suffer protein starvation if you only eat rabbit and hare. But they are worth it, especially if you can mix them with another fattier meat.
Yeah, the rabbit was good. We ate.
Yep. Oh, yeah, it was fabulous.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Good night, Rick.
Yeah. Good night. Yeah, we will try and smoke and dry fish for sure. We'll there are some fish like whitefish that we'll try and target when they're running in abundance. So.
Oh goodness, it's great to see you actually talk and interact.
Maybe,
I think you do a whole lot of that. Maybe you haven't seen a lot of the
I'm
other
like
videos.
trying to get the videos running, and you're the one doing all the typing.
Thanks for the live stream updates. You're welcome. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, and we will be doing them monthly, is the plan, and then releasing other videos besides. And again, Delphine on Instagram at Delphine Collier, our Facebook page, facebook.com/bigwildyear.
Yeah, and we'll try to get. They haven't been as updated as much because we've been busy in the sugar bush, but we will try to keep them a little more updated.
Yeah.
You guys look great. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks.
Good night. Oh, it was her first live stream.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, check out. We have lots of backlog of videos and other information, so have a look.
First time catching up. Oh, good. Well, thanks to everybody if it's your first time. Yeah, it's nice to have new folks all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great.
You guys-
Cool.
Yeah.
Well,
Keep the questions in mind for the next one if we haven't answered them. Type them
yeah,
again.
and,
Send them to the Facebook page.
yeah, that's a good spot. We're always answering
Same
questions
with my
on the
Instagram.
Facebook
You
page,
can always
Instagram,
DM
YouTube.
me. All right.
Right on.
Have a good night.
Okay. Good night, everybody.